here, also known as the Cowboy's wife. I'm no expert on anything and I don't claim to be, but I have been alive for 56 years, so I have some funny stories. Come saddle up with me and take a ride, and maybe I can make you laugh or smile or cry or give you something to just think about that day. Let's do this. Hey everybody, good afternoon. It's Trish Charleston here, the Cowboy's wife. Every time I start this podcast and I look at myself on this screen, it's like, holy cats, I'm old. But there's nothing I can do about that because time marches on. I'm just happy to be alive. And so today I'm going to talk about a plethora of things. And yes, that is a fancy word for many. But the first thing I want to talk about is the weather. If you are in the Midwest, woo, baby, it is cold outside. Today it is 11 balmy degrees in Missouri. And so this morning when I was out doing chores, it's great when you are prepared for such things. And I think that's one of the things I want to talk about is my word of the year. Last year, I think my word was preparation. And I think we all need to be prepared for all things. And preparation is huge if you're in agriculture, because if you're not prepared for the weather that's coming, then your life gets a whole lot tougher. And especially if you live in Missouri, because it dropped 40 degrees in 3 hours. And so we went from horse blankets on, horse blankets off, horse blankets on, horse blankets off. And that's like, I felt like the Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. Wax on, wax off. And I will tell you for real that if the Cowboy's in charge of that, ain't nobody getting the blanket. And I fully believe we shouldn't do that because I feel like God created the animals to, grow hair for a reason in the wintertime. But when you rodeo and you're showing horses and you're in and out of warm barns that weren't exactly planned for their lives, their hair is a problem. And that's when they're hot and they're cold. So I get it. I get it. We're not going to have that argument right now. But let's just say if Emma was not a little barrel racer and a breakaway roper, that I'd have some fuzzy woolly mammoths on this farm, and I would not take them on and off. And that little heifer was helping me the other day. I was trying to get him on. I say little heifer because I have this blanket. I have done this for many, many years. And this blanket, I could not get it on. Couldn't get it on. She comes out. She's dying laughing. I think the little fart stick even made a video and probably put it on her Snapchat story. I had it on backwards. And so there's a reason I couldn't fasten it around their head because it went around their butt. And so it was pretty funny. But since she's gone, I tend to do much better and man up and put them on correctly. But thank God I have Kelly, because otherwise I would never do it. But everybody's blanketed, everybody's warm because we were prepared. But that was my word last year. But my word this year is Elsa. And I'm going with Frozen. It's a Frozen nation. It's perfect theme for this year because it's just cold. But it's wintertime. So that's what happens, in the wintertime in Missouri. It's cold. But the reason I'm choosing the word Elsa is because I'm letting it go. There's a lot of things that I need to let go, let it go, let them go, let people go, let problems go. I'm just letting it go. So my word for the year is Elsa. And ironically, I reached out to this lady today, her name, and I'm going to give this a big old hack job. Ashrata. I'm not going to try to pronounce her last name, but she wrote this Advent book that I was doing over Christmas. She's phenomenal. And she was doing this Bible study. I bought this Bible study for me and a couple of my sister-in-laws. Well, I only have two. My two sister-in-laws for Christmas. And so I started doing mine, and it's called Bible and Breakfast. And she had this website that you could look up and get like free bookmarks. If I get a free bookmark, I'm probably going to click on your thing. So I looked it up. And there was this thing that she asked what your word of the year was going to be. And she told what her word was. And it was, of course, very profound. And I just happened to write her back because it said, write me and tell me what your word is. And I told her it was Elsa and told her why. And she wrote me back the most beautiful email. So now I need to learn how to pronounce your name because I feel like we're besties. But I've already written her back. I have a new pen pal over this deal. I'm pumped because somebody wants to talk to me. And that's exciting because I'm alone a lot, obviously, in this room, in my office that's also a bedroom. And I'm with joy and sadness up there. And I'm a weird, weird person. But I wanted to talk some more about winter and backtrack a little about Christmas because I heard this preacher last week talk about there's a reason that we celebrate Christmas and the birth of Jesus on the darkest day of the year. And I didn't ever know that that was the darkest day of the year. It's dark longer on that, time of year, maybe. I don't know if it's that exact day. So don't quote me and do the, Google search thing because I might be wrong. But we all know winter, the dark is just longer. I mean, it's the pit. That's why people are depressed in the winter. That's why it's colder. It's just all the bad things. Because can you imagine trying to celebrate light if it's bright and sunny outside? I mean, obviously, I love that. But it just never feels like Christmas, especially if you're raised in a place like Missouri where it's snow but the Christmas lights are my favorite thing. And the reason that we light up our houses and we light our trees and, put lights on everything is to show the light of Christ and what's coming into the world. The star shone bright and led the wise men to where he was. This last month, yesterday was Epiphany, the Epiphany. The Epiphany is when we celebrate the fact that the wise men showed up. They just got here, folks. I hate to ruin that for you, but they just showed up. They showed up to Jesus when he was a boy, not at the stable. We may have talked about this before because I tend to be redundant. But anyway, I just think that's super cool. The fact that there's a reason that it is when it is. And I just think that's really cool. But I think everybody needs a word. And so anyway, mine is Elsa. Doesn't have anything to do with the name Elsa, except that Elsa saying, let it go. And so I am going to let some things go. One of them being fear. I'm sick of being scared. I just got my new book finished. I'm so excited about it. I just got a note from my editor and they said my last edit, which was my third edit. And I don't know if I've talked to you guys about this, but it's been the most painful of writing, having someone hold you accountable, which we all need to have a person holding us accountable. I mean, obviously, God is holding all of us accountable, but we're forgiven when we accept Jesus. And so it's a pretty cool thing, but you're still going to have to answer for some stuff. I have always joked that I'm going to be a trash hauler in heaven. I really think I will, but I'll be there. I don't care if I'm hauling trash on the streets of gold. I'm going to be there. But you will be rewarded in how, what you do here. It's not going to get you there. I mean, we're saved by faith, not by works, but your works do matter. And so since it's so cold outside, I'm moving on. We've been watching movies more than ever. And I told you about the movies last week's podcast about some of the movies I've been watching, but I got to watch Wicked. I finally got to watch Wicked, and you can imagine the cowboy was not interested in watching Wicked. So when he fell asleep, I told him, listen, I know you're going to fall asleep. When you do, just know when you wake up, the Wicked Witch of the West is going to be on the screen. So just get yourself prepared for it. It's going to be green. It's going to be great. But I'm watching this movie with or without you, and I am quite positive it's going to be without you. I loved it. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but you got to watch it because there's so many cool things about it. And Ariana Grande was incredible as Galinda, later known as Glinda. But just the funny things she says. And I got asked to speak at this upcoming Women in Ag group, which I'm mortified about because I'm much better at writing than I am at speaking. But the first thing that Glinda says when she shows up, she says she died as a result of a bucket of water being thrown by a female child. Okay, I don't know about you, but that sentence in and of itself, we could run with for days. A bucket of water thrown by a female child. Okay, why did they have to say female? One thing, a bucket of water thrown. We've all seen The Wizard of Oz. We know what they're talking about, and that's how it starts. And if you haven't seen The Wizard of Oz, well, we can't be friends. You've got to watch The Wizard of Oz. That's just a rite of passage, for crying out loud. As a child, I mean, I realize you children are young, but for the love of Pete, watch The Wizard of Oz for Trish, if for no other reason, because it's fabulous. But anyway, I thought, what a interesting phrase, because how many times do we do that to people? Just metaphorically throw water on them. I mean, she died because a bucket of water was thrown on her by a female child. We can throw some stuff, can't we? I mean, we can really throw some stuff at each other, and that's one of the things that I'm letting go. So I did come back to it. It takes me a minute, but I chased a lot of squirrels in my brain. But when we let something go, I mean, we got to let some things go, like things that have offended us, or things that, we think about other people. We don't know what's going on in other people's lives. I mean, we have no idea. But one of the things I'm going to also let go is I'm not going to be a part of any kind of negativity. So if I walk up on something and it's a conversation about somebody that I feel like is gossip, or I don't know anything about, and I can't add something that's positive, I'm out. I'm letting that whole thing go, and I'm moving on, because we can all throw some water, can't we? And throw some shade, instead of bringing good things to one another. That's the perfect example of that is, in barrel racing, it's so hard. I mean, Emma didn't do well today or yesterday in Odessa, and of course, Kevin's instantly mad. Well, I've watched a bunch of videos of all these horses falling down, and we were talking about Rue blew the first barrel. You know what I think? I think Rue was pretty freaking smart, because he felt the ground. He's like, I'm not turning on that crap because I'm going to fall down. So I think he probably saved himself and saved her. I mean, we don't know why he did what he did, and we don't always win every day. But instead of being mad at the people that did good, which I'm not, obviously not, but we need to celebrate each other's wins as much as we need to comfort each other in their losses. And that is something that just social media is terrible about. I mean, they are so eager to jump on the bandwagon and rip people apart. Perfect example, Chiefs game the other day. Oh, it was brutal to watch. I love my Chiefs, and they are rock stars. I just love them. The B team was playing. Did I expect them to do better? Yes. Was I fully geared out? I even had Chiefs socks on, for crying out loud. I mean, I had red underwear. I had on socks, jeans. I mean, I met a cheerleader, the Chiefs cheerleader, in the elevator at Downstream Casino on Sunday. How cool is that? And so I said, I'm going to cheer for Haley. Her name is Haley. I don't remember her last name, but I asked her dad. I said, well, I'm going to cheer for Haley too. Well, Haley should have been cheering better, because they were terrible. But you know what? These poor guys have never played, and they knew they didn't want to win this game because of statistically who they would play next. And there was a method to the madness and blah, blah, blah. But I'm still a really sore loser. I don't like it. I don't like to not win. But I also am thrilled for people when they do win. I mean, I'm telling you what, when Cassie Mowry won the NFR, now obviously I was devastated for Haley because I love Haley, but oh my God, I was full tears. I love all those women. Emily won the last round. Emily's one of my favorite people on the planet, and we didn't even get to celebrate Emily winning the last round because it's the 10th round, and so you just move on immediately. And that's the thing about rodeo. You're the best in the world for about, 20 minutes. I mean, granted, I know it goes on, but now they're already, who's going to be next year? Who's going to be next year? Why can't we just celebrate each other and lift each other up? I think that would be super cool. But so going back to this thing where I've been asked to speak at this conference, and I just assumed, or it's not a conference, it's just a breakfast or something. I just assumed it would be about my faith, and it's not. They want me to tell funny farm stories, and I'm like, okay, what? And so I'm a little bit mortified about this, because I'm not Jerry Seinfeld, and you people don't know who that is. Okay, Leanne Morgan. I kind of am like a little bit like Leanne Morgan, and I might have to just work her stuff in there. But one of the first things Glenda says when she comes out of her big bubble and she lands in Munchkinland, and she flips her hair back and she says, "It's good to see me, isn't it?" And I cracked up because we all know people like that. And I think I'm going to start with that line at my women's talk. I don't have her hair to flip back anymore because I let the cowboy cut it all off. And so now it just kind of stays here no matter what I do. But I mean, seriously, I think I'm going to walk out and say, "It's good to see me, isn't it?" So you got to watch Wicked. I'm going to talk some more about it on my next one. But anyway, Happy New Year again. Pick a word, guys, and go with it. Let go of the bad crap. Embrace the new stuff. Lift each other up instead of tearing each other down. And man, let's make this a great new year because I know that we can. And just love each other. I'll see you next week.